What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central. It's your boy Big Bro, along with Stevo Speaks in the building. Today
Shoot.
we're gonna be talking about Stevo. We're gonna talk about most improved player. Everybody like talk about the MVP and so on and so forth. Let's talk about the most improved player, and we also gonna talk about this log jam out west, where it seems like don't nobody want to separate themselves in the play-in tournament, or basically for the playoffs, 4 through 13 out west. But y'all already know you got to hit an intro first.
Thank you for tuning in to the number one place for your daily basketball fix, NBA Central, hosted by the one and only CEO Hayes.
All right, man. Let's get right into it, man. Most improved player in the NBA. Let's go with the top three, man. Let's see who you think the top three in position to win most improved player this year.
Well, my top three will have to be Shea Gilgeous Alexander. I think that should be on everybody's list. Number two, Laurie Markkinen. He should also be on everybody's list. Now, three can be a little subjective. I had a tough
Mm-hmm.
time. I had a really rough time picking three. And it's between Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton, but I'm giving a nod to Jalen Brunson just because of the
Okay.
impact he didn't have for the Knicks, and plus they're a more winning team. So I'm gonna give top three, the third spot to Jalen Brunson.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Shea is squarely there, especially if they move up, right? Like right
Right.
now, Oklahoma City is in position to make it into the play-in tournament. But the way when we talk about this later, the way the West is set up, man, any one of these teams that are, you know, number 8 can move up to number 5 if they get hot. Now, the same situation applies to Lauri Markkinen.
Mm-hmm.
Utah is in the play-in tournament right now. Lauri Markkinen is doing his thing. 25 and 9, 50, 40, and 90 from the field, the three-point line and the free throw line. And he's 7 feet, man. He out there doing his thing, and he's finally finding his footing in the NBA. So I wouldn't be too upset to see him win it or Shea win it. But I agree with you as well about Jalen Brunson. And then a couple of outliers. You got Tyrese Halliburton out in
Mm-hmm.
Indiana, and then you got it's another person that's if Mikal Bridges had started the season with the
Yep.
Nets, he would
That was
be up
my
there
next
too.
guy. He's in my top five. I was gonna
Hmm.
add him. So Mikael, and especially being with like we're starting to see like that long years of. I think he's a 3 to 4 year at college. So we're starting to see what that happens. So we already know he don't miss games. That's one thing
Hmm.
I appreciate him about, and that's one thing I love seeing him play. Now he's not that player that just super ultra superstar talent, but he works hard. He knows the game, and just like he said on Damian Lillard, he's one of those dudes. Like, yeah, you might look at him like, oh, it's Mikal Bridges, but he'll bust you and give you 30. And we seeing that now with him being one of the main options on Brooklyn. So yeah, he's
Hmm.
definitely in my top five. And yeah, if he and like you said, if he would have started off in Brooklyn, he probably would be in the top three.
Well, let's say Brooklyn without KD and
Yeah, well, of
Kyrie,
course.
obviously,
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah.
obviously. But back to the original, Shea Gilgis Alexander, that guy is having a season, which we like the numbers he got up are basically MVP
MVP.
numbers. My man is averaging 31 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, um, 50, 35, 90 splits, and he has Oklahoma City relevant in the Western
Yes.
Conference. He's an
Yes.
all-star this
Mhm.
season as well. And man, shout out to Shea, man. I didn't anticipate this from him coming out of college. Like I honestly didn't. I didn't think he was gonna turn into this.
Yeah.
Like
Like
Jesus.
I think the scoring was always there, the playmaking was always there, but he developed a mentality that I wasn't aware of. Like, when you start like averaging 26 plus, 25 plus, that takes a different mentality. Like, yeah, it's a lot of talented people in this league, but that's a different level of mentality you got to kick into. Like, that's a different, like, you really have to turn into an assassin at that point. Like, okay, I don't care what it is. I'm gonna put the team on my back. And it's a lot of people in same position that's not ready for that pressure or can't take that pressure. He took it
And
full on. Go ahead.
I seen him do it. Like I seen him playing against teams, veteran teams, where they look like they're gonna come back and win the game, and Shea just take over, hit
Nope.
3 straight buckets,
Right.
or he'll stop whatever run. Like he had Steph Curry out there looking like a regular person.
Exactly.
Even though I think Steph put up 50 in the loss against them, but still.
And we all seen the night Brown broke the record. Shea weren't going. I don't care if you bring this record or not. I'm winning this game, and I'm busting you
Yeah,
at the same time, and that's what he did.
yeah, he did. They did. Shout out to Oklahoma City in
So
general.
as a whole, we got yes.
So yeah, I think Shea should win it, but like I said, man, Lauri Markkanen is having the type of season where he could win it, and you might see a tie. Like I'm sure we've seen, rookie of the year ties before. So maybe we can get some most improved players depending on how the rest of these next 12, 13 games play out.
Facts. I 100% agree. And the story ain't over with the third spot because Bronson been hurt, so he can slide down. It's easy. Like Mikhail, like even people saying Cam Thomas is on that conversation. He can slide up. Who knows? I mean, he done been a little quiet as of recent, but like people like
Yeah, I don't
it's
see
a lot of
Cam.
people.
The thing with Cam is I think he's fallen out of the rotation again in Brooklyn. So like he was the man when they ain't had no players, but I think he kind of he got to realize there's still work to do. Just because you scored 30, 40 points, that's not all the NBA is about unless you're like a super duper star like James Harden. You got to play defense. You got to know your defensive assignments. You got to know your playbook. And you have to earn time, whether you can score or not. It's a lot of people sitting on the bench that can score, that's waiting on their opportunities, but they also got to learn the complete game of basketball before they get there. So Cam Thomas got a long way to go, but good luck to that young man. All
I
right,
think that
moving.
was
Go
I
ahead.
just want to touch on it real quick, and I think that was always the hesitancy of Cam Thomas since he was in high school. Is like we always know he's a bucket, but like, can he actually step aside and play that point guard position? And with the team he's on now, that's what they need. Yeah, you can score 40 here and there, but they got scorers. They got scores around you. You got shooters around you. You got plenty of shooters around you, to be honest. So if he stepped more into a facilitating role, he could fall right back in that rotation. But it's up to him to realize that.
Well, yeah, man, and Brooklyn too. Like Brooklyn sliding down in the standings. Obviously, that was going to happen once they got rid of their players.
Oh,
Uh,
sure.
but we'll see, man. We'll see if they can stay out of the play-in or if they're going to end up in the play-in. And it's kind of leaning toward them being in the play-in because Miami right there, breathing down their necks, and they got the same record pretty much. Miami's only one game behind Brooklyn, so Brooklyn can see themselves slide all the way down to 7 like that. I think they'll be safe. I don't see Atlanta, Toronto, or Chicago making that big of a push toward them. They're all like 3-4 games behind Brooklyn, but if Brooklyn keep losing, we're gonna see.
Definitely possible.
They're on a 3-game losing streak right now, so they're gonna have to stop the bleeding if they don't want to be in the play-in. Because man, that play-in got to be causing people to be nervous. And speaking of nervous, Steve-O, man, out west, I don't know
Bro,
how any of these dudes is getting any type of sleep in the
bro,
Western Conference.
I wouldn't be sleeping at all, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I know we like on the east side or the bull side, we always say, bro, we can't lose. Like, we can't afford to lose. But like with people on the west, like from 4, like you've been saying, from 4 to 12, like anything is possible. You really can't afford to lose. Like,
Like you can't.
yeah, like if God forbid if the Suns drop, they can drop out into the playing position. If it's that close. It's
And right now,
crazy. Go ahead.
you got Golden State on a 3-game losing streak, sitting at 36-36, and you got Minnesota on a 3-game losing streak, sitting at 35-37. And both of those teams were in different positions 4 games ago. And those 3-game losing streaks have taken Golden State from the 4 seed all the way down to the 7 seed. And Minnesota is down to the 9th seed with the Utah, the Lakers, and New Orleans breathing down their neck. So like
Ass
the
too.
Lakers and yep, the Lakers and Pelicans want to make it to the play-in. Like, and the Lakers, shout out to the Lakers, man. Losing LeBron was tough for them, but to see them come out and play the way that they've been playing without LeBron, you had Austin Reeves last night go ham.
For real. 34, 35, man. And that's what you and that's what you get scared of if you one of these teams in the play-in position. We didn't see it since the play-in's been implemented into the NBA. It's always that one player, that one team that come in like, yeah, y'all done gave us an extra opportunity to get in the play-in. Oh, we gonna show y'all.
Oh, I love the
People like,
play-in.
yeah,
I
like
love it.
people like at first I didn't like it, but it brings like a college atmosphere towards it.
Mm-hmm.
It brings like a sudden death towards it, and I like it. Like it brings an early playoffs. Like even though we always know towards the end of the season it's more of a playoff atmosphere. Teams are cracking down on your key things. Coaches are knowing what you're gonna do. Players are intensifying the defense. Calls are not being called as much no more. But the playing is even crazier. Like you said, you can see Austin Real drop 40. You can see your bench player go for 30, and you lost to a top team that was supposed to make it to the playoffs anyway. Now you looking crazy. It's just like
I mean, right now the Lakers are sitting squarely at 10. And Utah right behind them, and New Orleans right behind them.
bro. Like
But the
next week,
thing
bro.
is,
Next
the
week they
difference
could be 7,
between
bro.
yes, and the thing that's what I was about to say. They could be not even just 7; they could be 5.
For real.
They're only 3 games behind the Clippers right now,
That's insane. And they 5, bro. 5
and they're
team,
three. They're
bro.
3.5. They're 3.5 games behind the Phoenix Suns at 4. So like a team that's sitting at the 10th spot can get hot and jump all the way to the 4th spot before this season is over with in the Western Conference, man. That is incredible. I love it. I love the play-in. I'm not sure about this in-season tournament they're talking about doing in the future, but
Yeah, that's a bit
I
much.
think the play-in is just perfect for competition. Because let's be honest, it was 1 through 8 for the longest, and 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Those teams just give up by January, February,
And it
right? Like
cracked.
the way. Go ahead.
And I'm about to say, and it cracks down on players using the excuse of rest. Like you can't afford to rest. You got to play. If you want to make this
Exactly.
team, you gotta play. Like it's crazy to see that there's 3 teams right now in the West, which is 8, 9, and 10 in their conference, got the same amount of wins, along
Mm-hmm.
with 2 teams that's 6 and 7 with 36 wins. Like it's right there. They're like right back behind each other. It's like a lunch line. It's crazy.
Bruh, it's amazing, and you every night you have to bring it. And I love it because like even the Bulls, right? Like the way the Bulls are playing, or they've played this season, the fact that they still have something to play for is special. The fact that the NBA figured out a way to make sucky teams interesting this late in the season, that's
Facts.
just a stroke of genius.
Hey, for real. Because it's more money, more eyes, more viewers, and that's the way of the game. That's what you want. And like you said, and I also like it because I'm petty, so I like to see teams that's confident and gets overconfident, and then they get brought down back to earth. You see a lot of that happen every single year. Every
Like
team
the
that you
Clippers last year.
exactly like it's not that I like to see it, but it's almost like it just shows you like, bro, you can't take nothing for granted, especially in this talented league now. You just can't.
And then let's be honest, like it's double elimination for the higher seeds. So like
Mhm,
I think 7 and 8, the loser of that game gets the opportunity to play the winner of the 9-10 game, and
mhm.
then they get that opportunity to play, to make it into the playoffs. But man, that you're right. It's an NCAA type thing. I love it, man. Like where it's almost like football, any given Sunday, like just one game, win or go home. And you don't have 3, 4 games to figure it out. You literally have one game or 2 games to get it right in order to make it into the playoffs, man. I'm loving it, bro. I love it.
For real. I like it. I just like to see good basketball. That's all I be asking for. I like, especially when it's not my team. I just want to see some good basketball, and I want to see the best players in the league go at it. And that's the only time when you put something at stake is when they go at it. And that's what I want to see.
Hmm.
If they figured it out, it's almost incentive to play. If you think about it, so it's like I just overall like it. We get to see the best players in the world, even on the worst teams, come and play, and you see some crazy endings to games. Like that's what makes the NBA great.
So how we think this is gonna shake out? We'll start with the Western Conference and then we'll touch on the Eastern Conference. So right now you got Phoenix at 38-33, Clippers at 38 and 34, Dallas at 36 and 35. Those guys are in the playoffs right now as they stand. If they started today, and then the play-in tournament teams are Golden State at 36 and 36, Oklahoma City at 35 and 36, Minnesota at 35 and 37, and the Lakers at 35 and 37. Those are your last four in for the play in, and then you got Utah and New Orleans with 34 wins apiece, trying to reposition themselves. So, how do you think the West is going to shake out? You think Phoenix is going to be able to stay in their position with minus KD? Do you think the Clippers are going to be able to stay in their position based on how they played the season? What are you thinking?
Like I can honestly see. I think I'm pretty confident in the Suns can stay in between 4 and 5. So I'm not really expecting them to drop so heavy. I can see, but I could definitely see two in the Clipper and the Warriors, not the Warriors, but the Warriors too actually. So three teams. I could actually see three teams: the Clippers, Warriors, and Mavericks dropping, and I could see the Lakers going up. Okay, the Thunder going up, and possibly the Jazz.
So that was my next question: is can the Jazz fight their way into the play-in? And if that's the case, then you just said you can see the Lakers moving up, Oklahoma City moving up. That means that one of these teams that are currently in the playoffs and the play-in is not going to make the playoffs. So out of these 10 teams that's currently positioned to make the playoffs and the play-in, which team do you see falling out of the playoffs?
See Dub go, hey me, Clippers. I
You can see
just
the Clippers falling that far.
yeah, because it's just like, bro, like the fact I'm just worried because they're not playing defense. You can't. This is the
Mhm.
worst time to not be playing good defense. This is literally the worst time. So if they don't get their defense together, yes, I can see them falling. And definitely in my second would be Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas is
Because
my first one. I can see Dallas falling, but I can see Golden State falling before the Dallas or the Clippers
I mean,
because
well,
they
I
they
keep
got a bunch
forgetting
of
about
road games left, and
I
they
keep
only
forgetting
have
about
7 road wins.
man. Yeah, you're right. Hey, I might have to switch out Clippers for. I, I might have to yeah, I might switch out the Warriors for Clippers for sure.
Well, here's the thing, all right? So we know that Golden State is great at home. Their next 2 games are on the road. One is against Houston. I don't see them losing that one, but hey, anything can happen. The next one is a big one against the Dallas Mavericks on ESPN March 22nd. And then they have a homestand of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight games at
But
home.
who they playing?
They playing Philly,
Uh,
Minnesota, the Pelicans, the Spurs, then the Pelicans again. No, I'm sorry, the Spurs, then Denver on the road. And then they go back home for OKC and then back on the road for Sacramento. I mean, like, bro, they don't have even at the home games aren't going to be
that's what
easy.
I said because
They
I just counted about 4 L's that I can see happening.
like they can lose to. I mean, I don't know about Dallas. That Dallas game is a watch.
No,
They can lose to
I said
Philly,
it. Yeah, Philly. They can lose. I can see them losing to Pelicans on some weird stuff.
to the Pelicans. They should
Like,
beat the Spurs.
yeah, they
But
they
then
can
they
lose.
close out the season to
They can
Denver,
lose all of
OKC,
those.
and Sacramento.
They can
Yes.
literally lose all of them
And that if you go on a 3 game losing streak to close out the season in the Western Conference, that's enough to knock you right out the
all the way
playoffs.
out. Yeah,
I mean, and
all
you
the
know,
way
obviously the other teams around them would have to win their games,
out.
but if Golden State lost 3 more games and Oklahoma keeps winning, Minnesota wins, and the Lakers win, Golden State will fall out of the playoffs, and Utah would actually move up. So yeah, I can see Golden State being that team. It sucks to say that about a defending champion, and hopefully that championship heart starts to show up as they get down to the last stretch of they can't keep losing on the road, because even if they do make the playoffs, you got to win on the road to win in the playoffs.
But I ain't gonna lie, Kev, bro. Jazz got an even tougher schedule, if I'm being honest. They got to play the Kings tonight. So it starts tonight. If they want to do it, we get to see them tonight. So they play the Kings tonight. Next, they play Toronto. I mean, not Toronto, Trailblazers. Then they play the Bucks. They play Sacramento again. They play the Suns. Then they play the Spurs. But then they got to turn around and play the Celtics. And then to cap the season off, they got to play the Nets, Lakers, Thunder, Nuggets, Lakers.
Whew. Man, this is about to be gorgeous. My league pass. My league pass gonna be smoking by the time this is all over.
Bro, I'm finna find a way to do the NCAA with the screens they've been doing for these games. Hey, it's gonna be busting for real.
They gonna have their tablet, their TV, their phone,
Laptop, hey, for real. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. But, all right, so over in the East, real quick before we wrap it up. Oh, thanks. My wife made me some sausage and eggs.
Goals.
Over in the Eastern Conference, Milwaukee. And last thing about the Western Conference, the Western Conference is so tightly contested that only one team has clinched the playoffs so far. Only one team has clinched the playoffs so far. But over in the East, Milwaukee and Boston have already clinched their spots. Philly's going to be right behind them. I don't have any concerns about the top five. I think Milwaukee, Philly, Boston, Cleveland, and the Knicks are pretty much going to stay. There might be some jockeying around the top where maybe Boston swaps with Philly, or Philly swaps with Milwaukee. But I feel like 4 and 5 should be pretty much the same at the end of the season. Now we got 6, the Brooklyn Nets, and then you got the 7th seed with Miami. I think Miami's gonna leapfrog them eventually, and then you got Atlanta, Toronto, and the Bulls. So Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, and the Bulls are in the play-in currently, and then Philly, not Philly, the Pacers and the Wizards, both teams who have the tiebreaker over the Bulls, are right behind the Bulls with 32 wins. So out of these teams from 5 through 10, do you see anything happening?
I honestly could just see
6 through 10. 6 through 10.
With the East, 6 through 10. I honestly think it's gonna stay. Like maybe the Nets drop to 6. I mean, maybe the Nets drop to 7, and then Heat go back to 6. But besides that, I can see it's just staying the same. Honestly, like I don't think none of these teams gonna go super hot or super cold.
So well, the Bulls are gonna have to go super hot, because one loss is a win for the Pacers, win for the Wizards. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and our schedule ain't no piece of cake either.
Like,
well, we got Philly tonight, and then we got Philly again on Wednesday. Then we play the Trailblazers. Then we play the Lakers. Then we play the Clippers. We play the Lakers again. Then we play the Hornets. And then we cap off the season with Grizzly, Hawks, Bucks, Dallas, Detroit.
Man.
So it's like, it's not like that's why I say I can honestly see, like, the way the East been going, like it could be very even keel with all of them. Maybe 1 or 2 teams might go up, but I don't see nobody significantly dropping or significantly ascending either.
I can see the Bulls going on a 4-game losing streak, bro, and playing themselves right out of the playoffs.
I wholeheartedly believe that can happen. I just didn't want to say it. I just didn't want to say it. That's all it was. So yeah, I can honestly believe it. And truth be told, in my heart of hearts, I want it to happen because I don't want to go to the playoffs. But I'm ready to get this season over with so we can address what we need to address. I don't need them put no false narratives or no false hope in their head for nothing. So yeah, in this season, let's go and fix the problems. But that's for something for Chicago Bull Pass. Yeah, I'll subscribe.
Well, here's the thing. I think the Bulls are a scary team to play against in the playoffs based on how Zach and DeMar are playing right now. That's all I can say. Like that right there, if they can carry this over, this offensive stretch that they're having into the playoffs, teams ain't gonna be able to take the Bulls lightly.
I mean,
But I
but
don't
the
see
thing,
them. I don't see that being too big of a thing.
but
Though
that's the
the
thing,
Bulls are big.
Kev. We've been saying that since last year.
True.
So it's like once you keep repeating stuff, and then like we got to keep saying, it's clear that we're not consistent. Like we just
Mm-hmm.
not. So at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
If you going if y'all gonna come and play, hey, do it. What you gotta do. Like if you feel like y'all talented enough, which y'all are, and y'all want to show these mugs that you can do what you want to do, you can do it. We know you can. It's just
Mm-hmm.
about doing it, and they just haven't shown me they could do it. And I'm not finna put my stock into it or my hopes in it. So yeah.
No. And defensively, they've been playing a lot better too, man. So
Mhm.
maybe this is the corner that we expected the Bulls to turn a few months back, but likely not.
Bro, we didn't see more corners than streetwalkers, bro. I'm tired of the word corner, bro. I'm sorry.
A man said we done seen more corners than a geometry class.
For real. Oh, I'm done with the corners, bro. I am.
Yes, sir. All right, man. We're gonna wrap it up. We appreciate you guys. This is NBA Central with Big Bro and Steve O Speaks. We're
For
gonna
sure.
holler at y'all on the other side. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, follow us on Shy Bulls Podcast with the Cognac Boys. Of course,
Thanks.
Chicago Bears Central as well. Man, we doing it all. You got me on top of Chicago. Steve O, you got anything to say to the people?
Hey, just subscribe. Make sure you subscribe here, comment. We want to hear y'all voices. Hey, and we got some mailbags coming soon, so be ready.
Oh yeah, make sure y'all check out that video on DJ Moore too on Chicago Bears Central. That's a
Oh
good
yeah,
one.
that hype video for the ooh. Hey, I love it. But yeah, for sure.
All right, y'all.
All right,
Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.